This guy in there. And not a good box yet. I like it
really. Hey guys, what's going on? Just got my RK1 in. We've done some minor things to it because Kevin's spent a month with his, and him and I shoot very similar setups. So we already have the brace height, knock point set. We've also built out the shelf to where it needs to be, and that's about it. So now we're gonna go through the process of tuning my arrows, shooting the same thing that Kevin's shooting this year. So again, having that knowledge is gonna make the process a lot faster for me. But the Valkyrie Rain arrows, so we've got a 500 and a 400 in their test kit. We cut them both down to 29 inches, right?
Yep.
To start, so that we'd be able to see where they shoot. So I'm going to shoot those pretty quickly now, get an idea for what's stiff and what's weak, and then we're going to go from there. Kevin will elaborate on that whole process.
Based off of what I've been shooting, Mark wanted kind of the same setup, a high FOC arrow. So we have approximately 75 grain outsert up front and then a 250 grain field tip. So he's running 325 up front with a 500 or 400 spine, depending on which arrow tests out for him. And then that will give us a good range of where his FOC may be, depending if it's a 500 or 400 because of the grains per inch. So
cool. So let's shoot
and see what you got.
Okay, so I'm shooting 500 and a 400, and the 400 is shooting left and the 500 is shooting right. Shot a lot of groups, so we're just showing the one shot sequence just to get that consistency, because you want your shot to be consistent, and mine is not, so we had to shoot a lot to get the repeatable results.
To make sure that 500 spine is actually showing weak and that the 400 is actually showing stiff. So this wasn't just one shot, we did this quite a few times, but we're confident now that that 500 is weak and the 400 is stiff. They are cut to the same length, 29 inches, and we can get into the specs on the front end as well. But
so now we're gonna start taking off some length of the arrow, correct?
Yep, so we're gonna start cutting that 500 down, which will stiffen the shaft, and the 400 we can't take any off of, or it would actually make it even more stiff. So Mark will be shooting the 500 spine, but we wanted to make sure it's the same setup as mine probably, but it's always good to check because everybody shoots different. So
yep. So after cutting down the arrows, we went 1/4 inch at a time. We're down to 28 1/4.
yes,
is where they're at, and I've been able to get good consistent groups shooting right. Now I'm predominantly focusing on left to right, so my aim I'm not worried so much about is up and down. I'm just really concentrating on trying to put that shot right in the black line. So that's why everything has been hitting over to the right, and every 1/4 inch that we've taken off, it's kind of been able to, after I shoot probably 5 or 6 groups where I can get consistent arrow flight, where I'm comfortable with where the arrows are hitting, shows them a little bit weak. So
we primarily pay attention to where it's impacting, not how it's flying out of the bow. You're going to have some knock left and right with these nano diameter shafts and the bare shaft tuning. You want to pay attention to that, and the straighter it can be, the better, but more or less just where it's impacting is what I've found to work the best for the bare shaft tuning. So Mark's a slightly weak arrow right now. When we fletch them up, that's going to bring it to the center more. There's other ways that we can micro tune. You can pull the silencers in closer to the center, which is going to slow down that string, which will make the arrow act a little stiffer as well. You can change strike plate material. Right now Mark has a soft strike plate on. We can put some calf hair on there. That'll bring it over as well if we need to. You can adjust. The last thing I like to do if I need to do something is adjust that brace height. Right now we're at 8 inches. That's what worked well for me, and the bow, the RK1 seems to shoot the best there for myself, Mark, and Mike. So we kind of want to leave it there, but if we do increase or decrease that, that will affect the stiffness or weakness of the spine. So that's another area we can dip into. But primarily, if you're getting something this close, there's lots of other little things you can do rather than take an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch off the back of the arrow.
And part of the reason why I wanted to bare shaft tune or like make sure that I get my system set up well is I want to shoot a smaller fletching. So this year I'm looking at shooting 2-inch fletching, just for a few various reasons. Give my point on a little bit more distance there as far as arrow flight, getting out at farther distances. But if I can't shoot a bare shaft to where it's well, and having that smaller fletching isn't going to help compensate as much. So if I can shoot a bare shaft that well, and it's where I feel comfortable shooting it, then that smaller fletching doesn't need to correct as much.
Yeah, there's lots of advantages to that smaller fletching. In my opinion, we're shooting lighter poundage bows, so this is a 45-pound bow. We want to kind of increase that point on as much as we can, get it out to 30 or 35 yards in your case. Will help with your accuracy out to those longer ranges. If he's shooting a bigger fletching back there, that's going to decrease that point on just because of the drag. So one, if he's hunting whitetail and he shoots out of the stand, a smaller fletching is going to be quieter, less chance of that animal jumping his string as well. So there's lots of advantages to it. If you look at the compound guys, they're all shooting really small fletchings. There's no reason we can't do it out of a traditional bow, in my opinion. So
cool. So we're going to fletch these up and see how they fly.
Sounds good.
Why do the good? Why do the good die young? When you arrive at the party wearing that.
Alright, so after fletching them up, put about 40 arrows through it, real comfortable with the group. I'm going to be hunting this year with these little 2-inch bat wing feathers.
Pretty sweet.
They're a little interesting, but I think
Kind of modern, but kind of goes with
cool.
the risers too.
So the arrows flying straight, so really happy with the setup. It is 2:30 right now. We started right around 11 o'clock, so this video doesn't show the amount of time that it takes to tune your arrows to your bow properly. It's just something you got to dive in and do, so pretty stoked on that. So ready for hunting. So stay safe.
Shoot straight.
Working hard again today.
60 yards.